Welcome to the Pearl of Lake Como. Welcome to Bellagio, Italy. Bellagio is a picturesque town on the shores of Lake Como, Italy. With old traditional cobblestone pathways through the heart of Bellagio, visitors get to enjoy a quintessential Italian experience. While it's known as the playground of the rich and famous, there's another side to Bellagio that most never show you. Today, we'll look at both sides of Bellagio. Hi, I'm Mark with Any Way You Travel. If you're a first-time viewer, we're glad to have you. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for joining us again. We travel the world in film so that we can share the beauty of it with you and maybe help you decide where you'd like to travel. So, let's hop in and explore Bellagio. We stayed in the small Lake Como town of Dervio. We liked it because it was less expensive than Verona and Bellagio, and it was just a short 15-minute train ride to Verona, where we hopped on the ferry to head over to Bellagio. If you'd like to see our video on Dervio, there's a link in the description below, and remember, only the east side of Lake Como has train service. Now, if you want to go to Bellagio from Verona, the best time to get here to get your tickets around 8 o'clock in the morning because most of the tourists aren't here and it's easy to get on board. So that's what I would suggest. A round trip to Bellagio and back to Verona is right around 10 euros. So it's pretty reasonable and you get to go explore a beautiful city. When you arrive in Bellagio, take some time to walk up and down the lakefront. It's truly beautiful. And, as is the norm in Italy, you'll find beautiful flowers with lots of benches if you want to sit down and take it all in for a while. There are also breathtaking views of the Alps, which surround Lake Como. Bellagio is part of what they call the Golden Triangle of Lake Como, which is comprised of 3 towns, Bellagio, Verona, and Menaggio. If you'd like to see our videos on Verona and Menaggio, there are links in the description below. Keep in mind, the town's layout includes both a lower lakeside area and an upper section of the town, with even more great things to see. They're connected by cobblestone walkways. You really need to wear comfortable shoes if you're going to navigate this beautiful, picturesque town. And you've also got to look out for the traffic on the narrow, ancient streets that make up the old part of Bellagio. It's really kind of a competition, so make sure you're careful. Also, don't just stick to the main walkways and roadways. You know, I never felt unsafe while I was in Bellagio, so make sure you get out and explore some of the side streets. You'll find great shops and out-of-the-way cafes and beautiful views like this fountain. Almost all Italian towns from the Middle Ages had these fountains and piazzas so people could get water to cook and drink. Also, check out Bellagio's Tourism Center. It's located in a medieval fortress tower. Also, as with any medieval Italian town, Bellagio has beautiful churches. Behind me is the Basilica of San Giacomo. It was built in the 12th century or the 1100s. It is a gorgeous church to go in and just enjoy the beauty of it or spend a little bit of quiet time. And best of all, it's free. San Giacomo Church was built by local craftsmen in the Romanesque style, meaning it had thick walls and very small windows. That's why it's so dark inside, even in the middle of the day. This is La Punta Restaurante, which means the point or the tip. This is the tip of Bellagio. It's a great place to come and take in the lake and maybe even have a bite to eat. As you can tell from the overhead shot, this concrete dock gives you an excellent view of the lake and the surrounding area. It's really quite beautiful. It's actually an Instagram shot. From the point, you get a perfect view of Verona and Menaggio. Bellagio sits at the meeting point of Lake Como's 3 branches, and its history dates back to the Roman era. During the 1700s and 1800s, it was a retreat for the aristocrats and artists. Today, it's known as the Pearl of Lake Como. There are several places along the lake shore where you can charter a boat to give you a tour of the lake. It's a bit pricey, but if you can fit it into your budget, it's really cool. To be honest with you, Bellagio didn't seem to have as many touristy sites or historic sites as Verona. But if you're willing to get off the beaten path and explore some of the neighborhoods in Bellagio, you'll see some really amazing things, such as houses built right onto a church, or a 600-year-old church. Or you may come across someone's personal olive tree grove. Or the Villa Giulia, built for the Count Venini in the 1700s, but now it's an apartment building. Or maybe you'll find what looks like a really old house in the middle of a neighborhood. There's really no telling what this was, but it's centuries old. To find gems like these, you've got to get away from the main touristy areas. And don't forget to stay hydrated. It can get really hot during an Italian summer and water's cheap.
I just went in this supermarket because I was really thirsty after a long, hot morning of walking. And I got this bottle of water. 28 cents is all I paid for it.
Next, let's head to Giardini di Villa Melzi. Sorry if that didn't come out quite right. Now, before you even go inside, you'll notice an old stone bridge over the highway. After you enter Villa Melzi, you pay your €10 entry fee, you go up a small flight of stairs, and you can cross over that bridge. Then there's the amazing structure on the other side. I'm not sure what it was. Some people say it was a church, others a shrine. If you know, leave a comment below. As you enter the villa's grounds, the surrounding English-style gardens have exotic plants, sculptures, and beautiful lakeside promenades. They were created to complement the villa's serene settings. While the villa itself is private, the gardens are open to the public, offering a glimpse into the estate's rich history and breathtaking beauty. And of course, you'll get more beautiful views of Lake Como. The villa exemplifies the elegant neoclassical style with symmetrical architecture and refined interiors.
The villa was built for a guy named Francesco Melzi Gardens, who was the vice president of Italy during the Napoleonic era. It was built in the early 1800s. You've got to see the botanical gardens, the villa. There's so much to see here, so make sure you check it out.
How would you like to wake up in the morning, go out on the terrace, and enjoy that first cup of coffee with a view like this? Before there were roads in the Lake Como area, this is how the family or visitors would arrive to the villa. The boat dropped them off, they came up the stairs, and headed into the villa. Also on the villa grounds is the Cappella de Villa Melzi, or the villa's private chapel. The chapel was built in the early 1800s as part of the villa's estate. It not only serves as a place for meditative reflection, but it's also the mausoleum for the original owner of the villa, Francesco Melzi Gardens. As I mentioned earlier, Melzi Gardens was a prominent statesman, so such a grand home like Villa Melzi and an accompanying chapel in which the family could be laid to rest would not be such an unusual thing. It's villas such as Giardini del Villa Melzi that sets Bellagio apart as the Pearl of Lake Como. Don't forget, if you'd like to see our videos on Verona and Bellagio, there are links in the description below. We hope you liked our trip to Bellagio, Italy. We thoroughly enjoyed ourselves, and we hope you enjoyed yourself also. This is Mark with Any Way You Travel. We'd love to have you travel with us again, so hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. That lets YouTube know to spread it to more travelers. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Cheers!